Hey guys, sorry about that. There was a little bit of a tech issue, but hopefully Insia will be back in the next 60 seconds or so. Once again, we are talking to her because after this lockdown, a lot of folks are spending time with their kids 24 bar 7, driving themselves up the wall. Let's be honest, kids are a handful. So to give us some tips, we're going to have her on the phone lines. She is again the founding director of Learn to Teach, a complete education solution provider with a focus on teacher training and parenting. I think she is here. Let's get her on. Let's see. Hopefully, no tech troubles this time around. Hi.
Hi. Hello, Lester. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Very well. I'm good. Thank you so much.
All right.
Just
Introduction
introduction to
them. But why don't you quickly?
But why don't you quickly? First of all, Lester, thank you so much for organizing this live session. I'd like to thank Sana and your entire team for organizing this and having me on board. It's really a pleasure to be here. And through Learn to Teach, we work with a lot of parents, especially right now during the lockdown. We have been counseling a lot of parents, and it's great to be on this platform. And hopefully, we can help some more parents through this.
Well, the pleasure is all
Well,
ours.
the pleasure is all ours.
Then join us.
Then join us.
So
So
ask the questions that have come on Instagram page.
on Instagram page, yeah. Sure.
So first off is
So first off is
so many teachers and
so many
parents.
teachers and parents.
Let's focus on
Let's focus on the parents.
what are some of the
What are some of the problems
pandemic?
pandemic?
It's turning them up the wall.
Up the wall. Right. Thank you. That's a wonderful question. So yes, we've heard a lot of issues coming from parents, and that's also because we have to understand that this is all new for parents. This is something that they were absolutely not prepared for. This is something that they just woke up one morning and hey, now you're in a lockdown and you have limited groceries and the kids are at home all the time. A lot of parents are working from home, so it's a gamut of emotions. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. But I think the bottom line, the number one concern when it all started for parents, there was a lot of fear. A lot of fear that what if my children or my loved ones get sick, with this illness. Once they accepted the guidelines and figured out ways to stay safe and healthy, the next level of problems was more about just managing the home front, the home chores, not having enough help, trying to work from home, trying to keep kids busy 24/7, getting exhausted with all of that. So there was a lot of anxiety, stress, a lot of negative emotions initially from parents.
All right.
All right.
Well, before I go into the
Well,
next
before I
question,
go into the next question,
there seems to be an
there
echo.
seems to be an echo.
We can't figure it
We
out.
can't figure it out. So sorry. Okay, let me try. Is this better?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, and there's no echo now. Great. All right.
Okay, great. This is
Okay.
better. Sorry about that. This is my first time on Insta Live. I've done so many webinars recently and a lot of Facebook Live sessions, but this is my first on Instagram. So thank you for teaching me something new.
Well, there's always a first for everything, and thank you again for taking the time out to teach us. Well, I'm not a parent yet, but also how to entertain myself as a grown-up adult who's not matured here. So, what is your first advice when folks start feeling overwhelmed by the situation?
Right. So just like I'll speak now as a parent myself. Um, so I think as any individual, any parent, any working professional, we have two choices. We can either focus on the problem or the issue and sort of get overwhelmed, or we have a choice to focus on the solution. And this is my personal experience when I myself went through a lot of emotions and went through a lot. So when I realized that I have a choice to focus on the solutions, and when we start looking at the solutions, then automatically there's a lot more of the solutions start coming to us, and a lot of them are quite simple. They're already there within. It's just our attitude about focusing on the solutions rather than the problem.
So tell me about a few of these problems that came in that you thought of solutions for.
Right. So, like I said, there was a lot of chaos, having bad routines. Since there's not a fixed time that you need to get up, get ready, and be somewhere. So it's very easy for us as adults, and even for our children, to slip into sort of bad routines. It's very easy to land up watching a lot of screen time for children. So it's also once you are in that phase of anxiety, stress, you sort of tend to affect your entire environment and family with that. It kind of passes on. So for me, when I realized that, okay, now it's time to focus on the solution, that's when I came up with a 5-step approach, basically. And this 5-step approach literally fits into the word chaos. So it's a 5-step approach, and to remember this, I'll give you a keyword: chaos. And when you start looking at it, then the chaos starts looking like calm to you. So the C in the chaos stands for, like I said, chaos breeds chaos. So, when you're chaotic and you're in that anxious mode, you sort of pass it around to everybody around you. So it's really important to take a step back and, start meditating, praying. And right now, being the month of Ramadan, it's the best time to, pray regularly. And that kind of, makes you more peaceful, makes you calm, and you tend to pass that positivity then on to your family. The H in the chaos stands for having a good routine, and that was really key. I realized that when I was waking up late, and my kids and everybody was waking up late, then by the time it's like 9:30, and the first thing you know is you have an entire family of hungry people to feed. You're in the kitchen, you're making breakfast, and then the work just goes on and on. So for me, I realized that it's important for me to wake up a couple of hours before the rest of the family does, to give me my me time, to give me some time to prepare, a nice breakfast for everyone, to ensure that the kids are sleeping on time, waking up on time, making sure that they have a good routine, doing enough of their, schoolwork as well. So H stands for having a good routine. The A in the chaos, Lester, stands for always keeping it fun. So I realized that it's really important to also remember that being at home with the kids, you need to have some fun. So I made sure that, we're playing a lot of board games, doing a lot of fun things together as a family. We're also ensuring that, we call our loved ones, and whether it's social distancing, not emotional distancing. So we made sure that, we're talking to our loved ones, and also that we're only discussing positive things. We're not listening to the news, not listening to only negative news, and only focusing on, how many cases are increasing, but focus on the positives. What is the nice things that you did today that you can share with somebody else?
Correct. Even for that matter, there's like positive stuff like recoveries, people going out of their way to help the society in whatever way they can. So yeah, focus on the good part of COVID-19 as well.
So absolutely, exactly. And so the O in chaos stands for one thing at a time. So I realized when you have so many things to do, you sort of get overwhelmed. That how am I going to do all of these things? Take care of the kids and the household chores, not being able to step out, not being able to see my friends, not being able to go to work, having limited access to resources. So that kind of really overwhelms you. There is a whole pile of dishes to do. When am I going to finish that? So I realized that focus on one thing at a time, instead of letting the dishes pile up and doing them at the end of the day. Break it into chunks maybe, and do it 4 or 5 times a day. Involve the family to help you, so that when smaller chunks are completed and you can check off that, okay, one thing done, you just automatically feel more accomplished. So the O stands for one thing at a time. And the S, in the chaos, finally stands for that success is only achieved through consistency.
Yeah.
So, it sounds easier than it's done. And we do, I'm sure most parents know it's quite simple. They know what to do. The hard part is actually doing it. And getting into this routine, wasn't easy even for us. We took a couple of days, but it's important to hang in there and slowly, let the routine set in. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes at least 2 to 3 days, but success only comes with consistency. So it's important to stay consistent. So that was
So,
my five step approach.
so that's how you turned chaos into calm.
Exactly.
Alright, for those who are just joining us right now, I'm just going to quickly recap what she meant by the word chaos and how to turn it into calmness. Is that the C stands for, of course, trying to stay calm. H is for having a routine. A is for always try to have fun. O is one thing at a time, and S is for, again, help me out here.
Success equals consistency.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
So it's
So
important to be consistent and
yeah,
stick
we got
with
to
the
make it.
routine.
Before we proceed, guys, if you have any questions for her, again, Insia Rahim is the founding director of Learn to Teach, a complete education solution provider with a focus on teacher training and parenting. If you have any questions for her, let us know in the comments below and we'll take them up in a little bit. So, Insia, of course, there are some, let's say, impatient parents at times, and then there are also like kids who can really get out of hand. So,
Right.
what do you suggest for moms and dads who are almost at their wits' end?
So in this, I think it's really important to have the kids on board rather than just telling the kids what to do. It's really important to sit down with them, talk to them, explain to them what the situation is about in the best way that they would understand, without scaring them about it, but being realistic and sharing the facts, and also reassuring them that we're all in this together,
True.
and we're here, we're trying to keep you safe. And this is my part, this is what I'm trying to do, with minimal help that I have. I'm trying to run the house and make sure that everyone's safe and healthy. So what is it that you can contribute to in this? So it's really important while kids are at home to make sure that even we focus on a healthy diet for children, because if they're going to be eating a lot of junk and excessive sugar, and they're not going to be going outdoors and expending that energy, then yes, we are going to have a lot of hyper kids. If they're going to be watching too much of screen time, sitting at
Yeah.
home, then again, you are going to have those tantrums and issues and, hyper children. So it's important to make sure that the screen time is limited. It's important to make sure that they're eating healthy. And we have to be role models, right? If I'm going to watch a lot of screen time or TV or look at my phone all day and then I'm going to tell them that, sorry, you don't get to do that, it's not fair. So, it's important to be disciplined yourself so that you role model it for your children. And I'm sure that, once you've included them, involved them in this conversation, and taken their consent, they seldom do, sort of oblige, and they do listen more than we think that they will. Yes.
Well, I'm glad for now I don't have any kids because that would be too hard to say no screen time and all I'm probably on screen platforms 24/7. But talking about screen times, do you have any do's and don'ts like for
Uh,
kids?
Uh, Absolutely. So the WHO recommends less than 30 minutes of screen time for children below age 6. So it's really important. Yes,
All
yes.
right.
For children below age 2, it's zero screen time. From 2 to 6 years, about 30 minutes to an hour is what is okay. So for this uh, screen time, it's really important that we set some rules and involve the children in setting these rules. At our preschool toddlers nursery, we've made a beautiful checklist that we've shared, with all our parents, and I will share it with you. I'll share the creative with you. Maybe it'll help the parents out there. Um, so we have a simple checklist that we explain to children, and then we get them on board that before you watch your screen time, you have to earn it. So there are these 5 things that you have to do, like Make sure you've had a bath, you've eaten your breakfast, you're dressed up, you've completed some part of your schoolwork. A lot of schools, including toddlers nursery, is online now. So, you've attended your classes or whatever it is, you've completed all those activities. And apart from that, you've helped, for some household chore, or you helped somebody in the family, you've made your bed, you've tidied up your room. So when you've done certain good tasks and chores to help around the house, then you've kind of earned your screen time, and have an agreement with them that daily I give you a screen time of 30 minutes or 40 minutes. And maybe we put a timer for them, or an alarm is set that they know when this goes off, I have to automatically turn it off, rather than us as parents constantly nagging them that, oh, turn it off, your time is up. Let's shift the responsibility towards them, and that tends to work much better.
And I guess the reward is always sweeter when you have to earn it. So that way the kids will also learn. You have to go through a bit in life. All right. So what are your suggestions for mums and dads in terms of keeping their kids engaged and not absorbed with their screens? Of course, apart from some of these tasks that you've mentioned.
Right. So it's really important to sit down with the children and ask them, depending on the age group of the children, involve them in the household chores. So my daughter is 8 and my son is 4.5, and they love baking. They love helping out in the kitchen. So we do family dinners together where they're helping us, even chopping vegetables. My daughter's really good with cutting and chopping, and my son loves to, pour things from one container to another. So he helps us with measuring and things like that when we're baking. So it's important to involve children in these kind of activities. We have a little terrace garden, so my son loves watering the plants. So, that's his duty for the day, that he goes out and waters all the plants every day. So when you give children responsibilities of household tasks, they really feel very important. They feel really as they're, valued in part of the family and the ecosystem. So that really helps a lot. Even giving them, toys like blocks or Legos or puzzles that they can solve, depending on what is the interest of your child. These kind of toys are also really good to keep them occupied. Like I said, at our preschool toddlers nursery, we've been having live classes, and even June onwards, we'll be having online sessions. So I'm sure for the older kids, a lot of schools have gone online. So a couple of hours, the children are busy with, the live sessions, as well as the tasks and assignments that are given to them as part of the school homework. My kids absolutely love to read. My son can't read independently yet. So, my daughter reads to him a lot. I read to him. And then my daughter reads a lot. She reads a lot of books. So those are some good habits, and things to keep children occupied.
Talking about, nursery kids and kids maybe age 1 to 5, as your experience as a teacher, have you tried to explain what is happening around the globe, or have you avoided because they're too young and they can't probably grasp the nature of what is going on? What do you think parents who have kids at this age group should do in terms of telling them about the situation around the globe?
Absolutely. So I've always been a very communicative parent, and for every age group, even children below 2 years, they may not have the vocabulary, but they absolutely do understand everything that is going on, and they are able to comprehend all the words that we express to them. So it's, in my opinion, really important, no matter the age group, to communicate to our children. How we communicate now, that's up to us, depending on the age group. For younger children, we can tell them through a story, use characters, use that they're familiar with, turn it into a story, and try to tell them the facts, but in a simpler, more positive way that they would understand. So we at Toddlers Nursery did a really cute story narration that one of our teachers did. She made a video about a rainbow fish, and how the shark was the police, and asking them to stay at home for their safety. And through that story, we explained all about the virus, and how it affects others, and what we have to do to keep ourselves and our families safe. So that kind of really got to the children. They could understand it. Through that story, we also explained to them the rules that they're supposed to follow in the lockdown. And when children are aware about what they're supposed to do and why, they tend to listen and follow, and they're more empathetic rather than, this is something that I'm just dealing with and I'm telling you what to do and you just have to do it. When it's explained to them, they're really a lot more empathetic and they do understand a lot more than we give them credit for. So I think it's important to communicate to our children.
So basically, if they have their favorite fairy tale, you just make it a coronavirus edition of that story. Explain.
Why not? Why not? Absolutely.
Well, so what can you suggest for moms and dads to do so that they can keep their kids' routine as close to, I would say, the word normal prior to the pandemic phase? How would that really
Right.
affect?
Sure. So that's not too difficult either, Lester. It's important to maybe just take a pen and paper and write down what was your routine of your child, prior to this pandemic, and then what are the activities that we can do to closely match those activities. For example, they still can wake up at the same time. They can still get ready, get dressed, and if their school, just like how toddlers nursery is online, if those preschools are online, then you enroll your child in a particular, online preschool or your school. Um, if not, then make sure that you give them some academic work or a little bit of assignment or research work that they can do during that stipulated time. If there is a particular time that they were going out and playing or getting some physical activity, there's a lot of beautiful activities and videos on YouTube also, which are exercise videos, dance videos that you can follow. So it's important that children get that physical exercise and stimulation for their gross motor skills, which you can kind of mimic at home. Apart from that, if they were going out and meeting their friends every day, you can have these sort of Insta live sessions or Facebook or Zoom calls, and be connected with your friends and family as well. So depending on what you were doing before, I think if we just write it down and go through the day, I'm sure we can, find close replacements to those things, even at home.
All right. We got a message on Instagram saying, how do you deal with tantrums thrown by kids during this age? Because you can't really send them out, and having them at home, most of the time it's like letting them win by giving them their screen time. So how do you deal with that?
Right. Um, I think for tantrums, we need to understand that if it's a one-off, if it's just happening, once in a while, or it's the first or second time, it's okay. Just like us, the children are also going through a lot, and this is just, they don't, like I said earlier, they don't have all the entire vocabulary to express what they're feeling. So tantrums are sort of like an outburst of all those emotions that are bottled up in there, and they don't know how to explain it. So if it's a one-off, as parents, it's important to just give them a tight hug, reassure them, and let them know that you're there for them. Depends on child to child. Some child might just need some space and a quiet time to calm down. So you can let them know that I'm here for you. We'll talk about it, but first take some deep breaths or calm down. I'm giving you some space, and yeah, yeah, yeah. So just maybe give them some space, and let them relax, and then talk about it. Let them teach them to be able to express themselves. But if this is something that is happening very regularly, and if you feel that your child is being either manipulative, or it's happening on a regular basis all the time, then it's important to understand that sometimes tantrums could be a result of something else, such as your child is too tired, he's not had enough sleep. It could be that they are hungry, and maybe they haven't eaten well, or it could be that they're just really very scared and anxious because we are scared and anxious and passing that on to the children. So it's important to calm ourselves as well, so that we are the adult and the strong one there for them. Automatically, children are like sponges, and they'll start mimicking our behavior.
All right. Well, I know that we focused a lot on moms and dads, but you're a teacher as well.
Right.
So, what tips can you give for teachers who are experiencing online teaching for the very first time? Tech issues. Maybe they can't really have control over the classroom because you can't really put your hand through the screen and be like, "Hey, listen to me." So, what tips can you share for teachers?
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of respect right now goes out to all these teachers. They're excellent at their jobs. They're really good. And teaching online is something absolutely new for them. It's for a lot of them, it's the first time that they're doing it. So we have to give them, a lot of respect and a lot of credit that they're putting in a lot of effort for this. And just especially to support the teachers, we at Learn to Teach have a 3-day course for teachers, which is an effective online teaching course, which teaches them all the basics of, right from confidence and grooming to designing curriculum which is suitable for online teaching, to even kind of giving them a step by step guide to the available platforms and technologies that are out there. Um, so there are a lot of schools who have their own apps, and there are a lot of schools who are trying to figure out what kind of apps to use. So through our training, we've listed out all the available options for paid as well as free apps that are there available out there. So a lot of teachers have been really benefiting through this online course, and now they feel more confident that yes, I'm equipped to teach online, and even their nervousness or that anxiety goes away once they feel more upgraded and skilled to be able to take the online classes.
All right. Well, Insia Rahim, thank you so much for taking the time out. And before I let you go, is there a final message that you would like to share with moms, dads, teachers, just everyone in general, because of the phase that we're going through right now?
First of all, again, thank you so much, Lester, for having me here. My final message, I think, to parents and teachers and everyone listening out there is that we need to really, stay positive and be positive. Just like everything else, this too shall pass. And I'm a very positive person, so I'm sure that we all will come out of it stronger and better. And if we don't learn something new in this time, then hey, what's all that cognition for? And I think it's time to internalize and reflect, and for each one of us to understand that the changes that we're making um, shouldn't just be temporary. We're in this situation because of, as adults, we have been a little irresponsible towards, our planet and our environment. So the changes that we're making, being at home and, spending time with family, slowing down, um, these things are something that shouldn't just be a one-time uh, thing that we just take on. We need to step outside of this issue, this problem, and kind of look at the bigger picture and make some, I think, important lifestyle changes which stick with us for a longer duration, and maybe we'll all come out of it much stronger.
All right, Insia, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I hope the moms and dads who have watched this can take back some tips and really take the word chaos and turn it into calm, if that's the case in their household.
Absolutely, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here, and it was really wonderful. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.